I couldn't get pregnant, so my husband cheated, and then he got baby trapped with the girl he cheated on me with. Am I the jerk for what I did in response? I'm a 28-year-old female and I was with my ex-husband for 6 years. During this time, we were trying to have a baby but had no success. About 4 years into our marriage had a rough patch. My ex had stress and slept with his co-worker to relieve his stress. He confessed to me rather quick, and a week later, they sat me down and told me that they were expecting a child. I was an idiot back then, so I felt like I should forgive him because I truly believed he loved me, and I thought that I had no one. My ex's family treated me like their own, but my ex's supposed daughter was the apple of their eye. As a result, my ex's coworker was a frequent presence in our lives. They felt like they had to include the mom of their grandchild for everything too, and she made her way in every family picture, in every memory. It didn't help that I suspected that the coworker had feelings for my ex and flirted with him when she can. People thought that she was his wife constantly, and I finally had enough during the baby girl's first birthday party when I was told to take a picture of my ex, his mistress, his daughter, and his parents. And this picture didn't include me. I took the picture. It hit me that I was now treated as the other woman, and I realized that I deserve more than this BS. I filed for divorce a few months later and left. It was the hardest time of my life, but I ended up getting a promotion at work and met this sweet, wonderful guy. Fast forward to now, me and my boyfriend are madly in love, and I gave birth to an adorable baby girl that I considered a miracle baby. I got pregnant with my boyfriend like 3 months after dating him, and I thought that it was strange that this could happen since my previous failed attempts with an ex happened, and I thought that I was the infertile one. It crossed my mind then that maybe he was the infertile one, and he only believed his mistress was pregnant with his child because they were having an affair. I didn't say anything though because it was not my place anymore. However, my boyfriend was so happy about my daughter's birth and posted it on Facebook and tagged me in the post. I was still friends with my ex-sister-in-law on Facebook, and she saw the post. She called me up and said that she was hurt that I didn't let her know that I could actually get pregnant, and the lack of child during my first marriage could be my ex's fault. He took a paternity test. The poor baby girl was never my ex-husband's. When my ex found out that the woman he cheated on me with lied to him and said that it was his baby, he lost his mind. He went into a total fury, blaming me even though it was she that lied to him that said it was his baby. And the reason she said she did this was totally insane. Some true karmic justice for what he did to me.
Story time about how I stole my best friend's boyfriend. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. My best friend and I had known each other for almost 7 years. We met in college and she was always dating around and had several boyfriends. I had no boyfriends because my parents were super strict even though I was in college. There was only one boy that I really liked, but like I said, my parents were super strict so I could never date anyone. What's worse is that I know this boy had a crush on me too. Fast forward 5 years later, my best friend and I are living together. She's on Tinder, Bumble, and all these other dating apps. She had been going on several dates because she really wanted to find a relationship. Well, one day she comes home and she says that she really liked this guy she went on a date with. They ended up dating a month before I even met him. One day she invites him over because she wanted me to meet him. He comes in and as soon as we lock eyes, I'm in shock. It's the boy that I had a crush on in college. Which, like I said, I knew he had a crush on me too. We hugged and chatted for the entire night, and I could tell my best friend really liked him. A few days later, he starts following me on Instagram and we start DMing. He tells me that he had a crush on me in college and I tell him that I did too. My best friend's boyfriend starts DMing me on Instagram. He confesses that he had a crush on me when we were in college together, and I told him that I did too. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. From that day on, he would DM me every single day and we would just flirt back and forth. I started feeling really guilty and I told him one day I can't do this anymore. That's when he told me he also felt guilty and that the best thing was for us to stop talking, so we did. I was so sad. A few weeks passed by and my best friend asked me if she could have the apartment all to herself because she's planning a romantic dinner for him. I said yes, but I felt so jealous. I left the apartment because I realized that I was so in love with him. I went to the supermarket and ate a whole pack of Oreo cookies and went to the movies. I get a text message from my best friend asking me to come home immediately. My stomach sank and I thought she had found out. When I get there, she's crying and she says that he broke up with her. I asked if he said why and she said because he was in love with another woman. My stomach sank again. I was there with her the entire night while she cried knowing her boyfriend left her because of me. Story time about how my ex caught me cheating on him. My ex was the biggest player in my college. All the girls knew him and everyone warned me not to hang out with him. Of course I didn't listen. He asked me to be his girlfriend and I said yes, of course. We had been going out for a few months, but every time he would go to a frat party, I would hear from someone else that he had been cheating on me or that he was trying to hook up with other girls. And I would ask him about it, he would absolutely deny it and say that people were just trying to separate us because they were envious of our relationship. I believed him a little bit, but something told me I shouldn't. So of course I decided to check his messages and guess what? I found a bunch of messages between him and girls that he went to class with. I confronted him and he denied everything. He said those were not his messages and that I was probably making things up. He deleted the messages before I could take screenshots. It was around the time of my birthday and I was planning a party and I told him he couldn't come to my party because I was upset at him. I made sure to invite a friend of his to my party who I knew had a crush on me. So his friend and I got really cozy at my party. We started hanging out every single day after come back from Part 2. So my cheating boyfriend didn't show up to my birthday party. Instead, I invited one of his friends who I knew had a crush on me. Let's call him Bob. Well, Bob and I started hanging out all the time. Behind my boyfriend's back, of course. My boyfriend and I would hang out less and less. Well, Bob started catching feelings and he asked me to break up with my boyfriend and to basically come clean to him. And I said no. I had no intention of leaving my boyfriend. I just wanted to get revenge. And honestly, it felt really good to do that. Bob got really upset because I didn't want to break up with my boyfriend and he went off. I started hearing rumors around the school about me hooking up with Bob. My boyfriend asked me about it and I said, I don't know where that's coming from. I haven't hooked up with anyone. My boyfriend didn't believe me. My boyfriend went to a party that night and he didn't invite me, which of course, you know what that means. I asked Bob if we could hang out, so I went over to his place. We're on his couch kissing and my boyfriend comes in through the door. Part 3. So while I'm hooking up with Bob on his couch, my boyfriend walks in through the door. Bob got up from the couch and went and stood next to my boyfriend. And my boyfriend just begins to say, I knew that you were cheating on me. You see, I knew it. Rumors were true. And I said, well, you've been cheating on me for months since we started dating. Then Bob pipes up and says, look, I'm sorry I did this to you, but it had to be done. I slowly started to realize that I had been set up by both of them. I went back to my dorm and I didn't speak to them for a few days. My boyfriend was calling and begging me to get back with him. He said he would forgive me for the cheating if I forgave him for cheating on me. But Bob was also messaging me asking me to be his girlfriend. He said he'd never cheat on me like my boyfriend did and that he really had feelings for me. Well, I didn't get back with my boyfriend, but we're hooking up. And I'm still hooking up with Bob too, but I made a promise that he wouldn't tell my ex. I did find out that my ex cheated on me with 15 girls. And that's on Toxic.
Storytime, my boyfriend caught me cheating on him with his older brother. A little background information. I was a sophomore in high school and him and I had been dating for about 3 months. And every day after school I would go over to his house. Sometimes he would be late coming home though because he would have soccer practice. But I would go to his house anyways because I was friends with his sister, who was also in the same grade as me. Well, his older brother was a senior in high school. Well, the one day I went over his house and his sister wasn't home. She was tutoring at school or something. And neither were his parents. So I texted my boyfriend saying that I was just gonna go home. And he said, no, stay, I'll be there in like 30 minutes. While I was sitting on the couch, his brother comes downstairs. So he comes and sits on the couch next to me and puts on a movie. And he could have sat anywhere because they had a big ass couch, but he sat right next to me. So we start talking and a little bit into the movie, he gets closer to me. And one thing led to another and then we were in his room. And literally 2 minutes later, we heard the front door open. Like for part 2. Part 2 about how my boyfriend caught me cheating on him with his older brother. So we heard the door open downstairs, and at this point we were both naked. So I ran to my boyfriend's room as fast as I could, and as soon as he came upstairs, he saw me without any clothes on. So then I had to play it off like I was ready to do the nasty with him. So for the next 2 weeks straight, I was going to my boyfriend's house and doing the nasty with his brother while he was at soccer practice. Well, the one day after his brother and I did the nasty, I fell asleep in his brother's bed. So my boyfriend came upstairs, and he didn't see me anywhere, so he was knocking on his brother's door. And we didn't hear anything because we were sleeping, so he just opened the door. And I woke up and he was screaming at both of us. So him and his brother got into a fight, like literally fist fighting. I was trying to break it up, but then I was also trying to put clothes on. And when my boyfriend saw me trying to get dressed, he took my clothes and told me to get out. And when I wouldn't get out because I didn't have clothes, so he literally grabbed me and threw me outside. And then he came back and threw a towel at me, so I had to walk home with only a towel on.